Hello everyone, and welcome to the shadow work reading. So basically what we're doing in this reading, it's a pick a card reading. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We are basically going over what shadow work is going to come up for you this shadow season. So as we enter into Libra season, if you don't know, we are entering into shadow season. And excuse my cat, he's curious. Okay, move along. There you go. Okay, so basically shadow season is where we see reflections of ourselves in other people. Libra is all about relationships, and it's all about balance and opposites. It's where we integrate our opposite, quote unquote, or shadow part of ourself that we normally try to push down and hide from other people. Some of us are more aware of this, some of us are less aware of this, but in the process of becoming, quote unquote, enlightened or hashtag woke, that's a joke, basically, we have to learn to integrate our shadow side and become more mindful of our shadow and the things that we suppress and put into our subconscious. So this reading is going to not only be what your shadow is and what shadow work will be coming up for you over the course of the next few months, but also how you can integrate it and how you can heal. I also am offering like personal shadow work readings on my website, TawnyMichelleTarology.com. If you are interested in that and getting a one-on-one, more personal reading, that is an option for you as well. If you end up really relating to this reading or you end up finding it helpful and you would like to know more about your own shadow and all of that, definitely go check that out. I'm also having a Libra season sale right now where you can get 15% off all readings on my website if you are a Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Just use the code LOVELYLIBRA at checkout. So that is all the announcements. Go ahead and pick whatever pile you are being drawn to, that you are intuitively being drawn to. I did put crystals on them, so if that helps you, definitely do that. I will let you know this is going to be a very deep reading. I did pull a lot of cards for each pile so we could get as detailed as possible and as deep as possible. And this reading is going to be about embracing your darkness. So it may be dark, and that's okay. Dark does not mean evil. Dark does not mean like, oh my God, I'm the devil or whatever, you know, like we all have darkness in us and we all have light in us. And a lot of us like to think that our light side is better than our dark side, so we push our darkness down, therefore making us even more darker without realizing that, if that makes sense. We're also doing shadow season work in my online course, so you can get guided every step of the way if you'd like to really go into your shadow side this season and really integrate it and learn to heal and work on yourself. Check out my online course, SOULOLOGY. Everything is down in the description. All right, let's do this. Starting with pile number 1, there are timestamps down in the description below, or I'm sorry, down in the comments below. Once again, this is pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. So let's do this. All right, so this is for those of you that have picked pile number 1. So we are going to start with the bottom cards. So half of these cards are going to tell us more about your shadow and the shadow work that you need to do and the difficulties that you may have with your shadow over shadow season. And then the other half of the cards are going to start telling us how to integrate your shadow, how to heal, etc. So the first 2 cards that we have here for your shadow is Taurus, I have, and Gemini, I think. Very interesting. So you could have Taurus or Gemini in your chart, or you could be dealing with Taurus energy or Gemini energy. So I really feel like pile number 1, this has a lot to do with what you believe to be true. This has a lot to do with what you think you need for survival, what you think you need to have as far as your possessions go, as far as your money goes, as far as relationships go, as far as your social life goes. This is really very much so about your values and about what you think about your values and what you think and your basically your perception on your different beliefs, your different morals, and your different values. So that is what I'm picking up so far. You could maybe in your birth chart have something in Taurus or Gemini. So basically like different things like the moon, Pluto, the 12th house, and a number of other different aspects. There's literally a shadow aspect to almost every single thing in astrology. So, but you could have something in those signs or in those houses, like Taurus rules the second house, Gemini rules the third. So you could have something there that basically is like that points to your shadow in your chart, okay? So I would definitely check that out. Another thing here with Gemini energy is it's about duality. So it's really about integration. It's about decisions. It's about, you know, two making one, the twins, right? So it's really starting to get comfortable with all sides of yourself, no matter what other people think about it, okay? Because I'm like really getting a lot of energy here that you could be someone that really likes to have certain things because you think that's going to help you fit in, or you think that's going to help your social life or your social standard or your reputation, or you could be like a people pleaser in some way, okay? So that's kind of what I'm getting so far for pile number 1, okay? So moving on, the next 2 cards that you have are, we have the mentor, light attribute, passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. Shadow attributes, inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master, imparting false instruction. Okay, so this is very much so everything that we were just talking about. It's like you have these certain beliefs, these certain like hardcore morals or beliefs, and so you feel like you want to help other people, but at the same time, you only want to help them the way that you think you should help them, if that makes sense. And trust me, I know this doesn't sound like it sounds like I'm kind of like dragging you right now, and that's kind of what this reading is. It's going over some of the tough things about yourself that we don't really like to look at, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, it's not allowing people to do what they want to do. It's like you think a certain way and you think they should do XYZ. You know what I mean? You can be very stubborn with your thoughts because the shadow aspect to Taurus can be stubborn. So you can be very stubborn with how you talk to people, what you tell people to do. Maybe you're like a little bit bossy or etc. So the next one we have is child wounded. Okay, so pile number 1, school, just came to me. You need to go back to your childhood and you need to look at what happened to you in school. You need to look at what happened to you when it came to your learning, when it came to how you were developing your mind, when it came to a mentor in your life, a counselor, a teacher, or even a parent that was helping guide you as a child, because there was some kind of issues here. Anyway, so it says child wounded, light attributes, awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. Shadow attributes, blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resist moving on through forgiveness. So these are the light and shadow attributes of what you're going through, pile number 1. It's very important for you to go back and forgive whatever happened to you as a child. This is really very much so reminds me of maybe you were bullied for how much money you had, or how much money you didn't have, or the clothes that you wore, or the possessions that you had as a child, or people made fun of you, and so like reputation or social status in life is really, really a big deal to you. Also, maybe you were picked on or something along those lines by somebody that was supposed to be there for you, by somebody that had really strict morals and values, and they passed them on to you as well and wouldn't let you grow to think for yourself, okay? So this is a really big deal, pile number 1. Definitely look into that, okay? So the next 2 cards that we have here. Okay, so these don't have words on them, so I just read them intuitively. So once again, right here, I'm seeing social status, how she looks, everything she wears, the possessions that she has, but it's not true happiness, as you can see. This is kind of, when I drew these 2 cards, I was kind of thinking like, okay, one of them is how you look on the outside, your ego, your persona, and the other one is how you look on the inside. It's very weird, I promise. All these cards are shuffled and we keep getting cards that are back to get back. Like we got 33 and 34, and then we got Taurus and then Gemini, which was numbers 14 and 15. I promise these cards were all shuffled. So weird. But anyways, so I really think that, you know, as a child, maybe you didn't have much, or maybe you were neglected in some way, or maybe you were poor, or maybe you were picked on, or you had to start working early to take care of your family, or just some kind of possession, you know, material things, physical things were a big deal to you. And even if you weren't poor, maybe money was like a big deal. Like maybe your parents like didn't spend a lot, like even though they had money, maybe they were really strict with money or something along those lines. But I really, really think that also you need to get out into the wilderness. You need to get out into nature, pile number one. I really think like connecting with earth is going to help you. And also stripping this mask and persona and this fear of like scarcity and what you have and all of that, like being able to let it all go. You know what I mean? Like maybe dress how you want to dress, but not with the intention in mind of what other people are going to think. Not with the intention of mind of what you want other people to think. You know what I mean? Be yourself. And I really feel like that's what I'm getting. It doesn't matter what you have. That's not true happiness. Your shadow, like you truly, really just feel safe when it comes to nature. Like you just want to feel safe. But there's this material stuff that's giving you a false sense of safeness that isn't necessarily true. So that is what I'm getting from that. And of course, as you're looking at these cards, guys, you can go ahead and, you know, take what you want from them as well. So the next two cards we have are the Emperor reversed and the World reversed. So this could have had something to do with your father, child number one, or someone that had power over you or that had a lot of reputation. I'm still getting the whole reputation thing with the Emperor and the World here. Maybe they're still in your life. It's a cycle that never has really closed. And if it's not your father, it was maybe a dominant person in your childhood, a very dominant person. The Emperor is normally Aries energy, but it doesn't have to be. So this is something you're still repeating. Somehow you're still repeating this cycle because the world is reversed. So you haven't fully let go or closed this cycle yet, okay? So it's really, really important for you. You're really scared to give up control. Control is like a big thing for you. You think you can control everything around you, but you can't. You can't even like truly control yourself. I mean, your body could like do anything at any time, and you know there may not be much you can do about it. Like, you know, you could get a headache. Like this is truly about releasing control. This is truly about letting yourself be free, letting yourself rebel, letting yourself, you know, not have to feel put together. There could also have been a lot of anger in your childhood, pile number one, or a lot of anger in your shadow side. So let's see. The next card we have here is the Sun. Your perseverance is rewarded. So this is all about, once again, how other people see you, how other people notice you, how you are seen to other people. And it can also be about your ego. So you really need to become conscious of this. This is really about becoming conscious of the different parts of yourself and bringing them to light. Because somewhere along the line, you've really pushed out these other parts of yourself. You've really pushed out the shadow, which is the opposite of what you are really trying to show the world. Like your persona is what you're really trying to show the world. But if you start bringing these parts to light, you will be rewarded, like the card says. Ooh. Okay, so we have Egypt. So this is about past lives. So maybe you are drawn to Egypt, pile number one, or maybe you had a past life in Egypt. Maybe you were, and it's very weird because the Sun card looks very kind of like Egyptian as well, in a way. But maybe you were some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of like pharaoh or the pharaoh's wife or whatever. I'm sorry if my terminology is off, but you were seen in Egypt. There's something to do with Egypt or something to do with, I feel like you were possibly royalty or the opposite. And in this life, you are here to understand the other side of it, and you still keep maybe going back into those old habits or those old ways of thinking from your past life, where you maybe had a lot of things, or maybe you didn't have a lot of things and you're still trying to make up for it, whichever way of the spectrum it goes for you. So the next card we have here is Oath. Oh, wow. So somewhere along the lines, whether it was in a past life, whether it was in this life, you made an oath to yourself, whether it was consciously or subconsciously, that you would never need to hurt for anything again, that you would never struggle, or that you would do your best to do X, Y, and Z, or, you know, there's something here, there's some kind of oath that's like bonding you to whatever it is that you feel like you can't let go of. Okay, and it definitely could have to do with that past life or your childhood, one of the two. Let's see what the next two cards are to get more clarity. Okay, so we have the Hermit and we have Ruin, which is the Ten of Swords reversed. So pile number one, this is very much about feeling like a loner, feeling like you have to have control once again of situations, feeling like you know, like you have to suppress yourself, or maybe you're scared to be a loner, you're scared to be different. You're really suppressing like your true nature, you're really suppressing your darkness here. You're really scared to like surrender control. Like you feel like you have to be in control. There's a lot of like Aries energy coming up here. Yeah, Aries energy, Capricorn, possible Taurus and Gemini kind of energy I'm getting here. But basically we also have Virgo coming up now. But basically it's very much like you have to be in control. Like you feel like you just cannot surrender, like you cannot let go if you're not in control. So this is really much so about going inside of yourself and really taking some time alone and letting go of that old oath that you may have like told yourself, or you know, committed to yourself, or whatever. So the next card we have here is the Prison Wave, Self-Sabotage, Poverty Consciousness. Wow, speed pile number one, I told you. Woo! And then if you see here the Hermit, he looks like, you know, he's like on a bus station, at a bus station. He looks like he is homeless possibly. I feel like that's your biggest fear. But at the same time, you know, if you're filling this void, Taurus, right? If you're filling this void with material things, money, comforts, pleasures, whatever it is, values and morals, you're actually self-sabotaging, because, you know, when you start filling that void, when you start needing it to feel safe and comfortable, you're actually doing the opposite. You're creating debt, you're creating more financial obligations, you're creating money issues, you know what I mean? So you're actually bringing it onto you. And so I think it's really important to get rid of this like super huge fear of like scarcity or money or whatever this is. And this is what is going to come up for you over the next few months, pile number one. So it's really important to start paying attention to this. So now we are going to get into the healing part of your reading, how to start healing from these things, pile number one. So we have focus on the light. Beautiful. So even though you may see scarcity as darkness, or you may see not having enough or not feeling like you're enough as darkness, you're not. That's not. It's actually feeling like you are, you know, using all of these false things to feel like you are enough. That's darkness. So it's a little bit reversed for you in a way. So focusing on the light is really all about focusing on your light to find your own comfort within instead of without. You know what I mean? It's really focusing on yourself and how you can find that light within yourself. So, yeah. As your intention grows, so does the light. And as the light grows, so does your intention. So this is all about your intention and really finding a way to, you know, tap into your heart and your intentions, and understanding that everything happens for a reason, and understanding that you're loved no matter what. That you're loved, and once you start tapping into that self-love and that light, and you start really focusing on your heart and love, that is when you will start attracting that to you as well, and that is when you will start healing. And you will start finding your power. So anyways, this card is it basically says, worry will construct possibilities rather than allowing the free flow of light. You have permission simply to be appreciative of the light and to enjoy it as you continue to focus on what really matters, the pure intention of your heart and your desire to create. If you are not sure what this means or how it would look on a practical level, consider this example. A service-oriented business becomes very successful financially and gains considerable commercial power, which can be used to help promote its message or assist other organizations in gaining exposure to the public. Of course, that power could be used in less pure ways, such as boosting personal ego rather than promoting the agenda of the heart. Power games in politics might start erupting as the people grab for their share, and suddenly the purity of the project begins to crumble. Sometimes success can be like a powerful mirror and a shining searchlight as it shows up what was already within someone or a group of people. Under the spotlight of the success, it is more intense, amplified, and obvious. Sorry, I know my cat keeps walking across. So basically, by returning attention to the heart of why the business was started in the first place, it is wise to maintain focus on the pure or original motivation for the work rather than shifting course to focus on money or influence. So it's about focusing on your heart, your creativity, and really focusing on the light within you, basically, instead of, the money and the wealth and the material stuff. So moving on, next we have Shakti, which is fire energy, Pisces and Aries, the Queen of Wands. It says spiritual life force, sensuality and sexuality, playfulness, love, passion, bliss, and ecstasy, the transformation, power of desire. Tune into your desires, free your sexual energy, and learn its creative power. Dance. Liberate your inner wild woman. So this is advice on how to integrate your shadow, ways that you can learn to love yourself, ways that you can learn, your creativity, your passion, your sensuality, your spirituality, and all of that. So yeah, it really goes along with focusing on the light, because once you start healing and unlock that shadow and you start integrating it, you really start integrating and unlocking the spiritual force within you along with the creative force within you. You unlock spiritual gifts inside of yourself that you may have never even known that you had. So then we have peace. Beautiful. So this, once again, is all about peace. It's not about material things do not make you happy. This is more about peace within yourself, finding peace within what you have, no matter what it looks like or what anybody else thinks about it. Okay, so we have the mature woman. So this could have either been someone from your childhood, this could be a representation of you, or someone in your life that maybe your shadow wants you to look at more. It could have been, what you wish you would have had growing up, or vice versa. Let's look at the other two cards. So we have the flowers and the birds. So this really looks like possibly a grandmother in your life or something associated. It also looks like maybe how you may see yourself, in the future or whatever, but it's really not about what you have. It's more about maturing and understanding that people are going to talk, people are going to say things, but really what's going to happen here is your wisdom. This is all about wisdom. This is all about purity and peace. Like it says, the flowers are about purity and peace. It's not about material things or what people say about you or your reputation, etc. So that is what you're aiming for here. And that is where you will end up if you start healing and integrating your shadow, pile number 1. So that is all for you guys. I hope this resonated. I hope this was a helpful reading for you guys. Now we are going to move on to pile number 2. Hello guys, this is for those of you that picked this pile, which is pile number 2. We already did pile number 1, that's why it's not here anymore. So let's go ahead and start. So I will just warn you guys ahead of time that these readings are very deep. I pulled a lot of cards for each pile. They are very deep. They do focus on the things about yourself that you may not like or that you may not be being honest about. So I'm just letting you know that ahead of time. So I'm not dragging you. I'm just literally telling you what I'm seeing and relates to your shadow, and hopefully it resonates, okay? So keep an open mind and let's go ahead and start. The first half of the pile is all about your shadow. where it's at, the things that you need to work on, the traits of your shadow, and the second half of the pile is all about how to heal your shadow, okay? So let's see here. The first two cards that we have here is Solar Eclipse Revolution and Saturn Truth. Wow. So this pile number 2 is all about, as you can see, truth and revolution. It really reminds me of like Aquarian type of energy, honestly. And shadow or Saturn can be associated with the shadow actually in the birth chart. So definitely take a look at where your Saturn is in your birth chart and how it may represent your shadow. It really includes like the things about ourselves that we find harder to deal with, or that we may not want to deal with, things that are just really hard for us or something along those lines. But it's really about owning our truth, is what I'm getting here. Being completely authentic, standing out, it doesn't matter, like all of it. So let's go ahead and see what the next card we have is here. So our next two cards are Messiah, light attribute, serving humanity with humility. Definitely I'm getting Aquarian vibes. So even if you're not an Aquarius sun, moon, or rising, you could have Pluto in Aquarius, you could have Aquarius in your 12th house. There's other, or Aquarius in your 7th house. You could have basically Aquarius or something in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, something that indicates your shadow. There's so many different ways to look for the shadow in the birth chart, but basically I would just look at what's in Aquarius, what's in the 11th house, where your shadow is, where's your Saturn, where's your moon, all of that stuff. So anyways, the shadow attribute to this is exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed. So this can really be like you want to change things. Pile number 1 so far. There's a lot of change that you want to make, whether it's with the world, with yourself, with humanity, with society. You really don't like the way that some people do things. Now, this could also be kind of like not accepting your own truth, not accepting who you really are, and looking at other people, but not seeing the reflection of yourself in other people, okay? The next card we have is Teacher. The light attribute is ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. The shadow attribute is manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills. So you really want to change things. Pile number 2, you could be a leader, an activist, really into politics or what's going on in the world. But the shadow attributes is you could really think that it has to be your way or it's not going to be right at all. Or you could think that, you know, basically you are the only one that can do it, or you're the only one that can think this way. You're the only one that can do these things, whatever. And you could be trying to manipulate other people, you know what I mean, into doing what you want them to do, or teaching them to be destructive in some way to get your way, you know what I mean? So it could be a little bit too much. So let's see what the next cards have to say for more information. Okay, so these cards don't have words. I just read them intuitively. It's number 9 and number 29. So I feel like there's something here with change. I feel like there's something here with you really want things your way because you fear something. You fear some kind of change that maybe happened when you were younger, or something was maybe unstable when you were younger. Maybe there was a death of some sort, or maybe there was an ending or a huge change, a trauma, you know, that happened, or a traumatic experience that happened to you, and you feel like you want to save others, you know? You really feel like you want to save people, and by doing so, you are preventing them from learning their own lesson, and you're also preventing yourself from learning your lesson because you're running from your lesson, if that makes sense. Definitely interesting. Okay, so your next two cards, the 9 of Scepters, which is Wands, and the Hermit reversed. So this is really feeling different, really feeling possibly not accepted, and really feeling like you have to defend maybe those that are also not accepted, or those that are also basically like those that are unique in some way, and you may feel like you really have to defend them, or you really have to basically stand up for them in some way. You could have been, bullied when you were in school, or whatever traumatic experience happened to you, pile number 2, you really try to prevent it from happening to other people. But what you're not realizing is how much you've grown and what you've learned from that experience and why it was necessary, instead of like avoiding it or trying to prevent other people from going through change or some kind, whatever the traumatic situation was. It's important to embrace it, learn from it, forgive it, and grow from it, okay? So the next card we have here is the Mystic Circle. Your abilities will be enhanced. So if you really truly heal yourself, and if you really truly integrate your shadow side and whatever happened when you were a child, the traits in you that you've been avoiding or that you've been pushing off, then and if you really start looking at yourself through other people, you will see that everyone is connected and everything is connected, and you will see the pattern in which you've been stuck in for a very long time. And your abilities to help other people will be enhanced, but you'll be helping other people in a different way by actually truly helping them and not trying to control the situation, if that makes sense. All right, so your past life card is vows. This is actually very fitting. So this is what could either be affecting you from a past life or just earlier in this life. Maybe you vowed to never go through something like that again, or you made some kind of vows in a past life to help people or to help change things, or whatever, and now in this life you're seeing the other side of it and you are healing that karma. So these vows may be very strong. You may be you may feel like it's your responsibility to just do all this, and really it's not, and that's what could be coming up for you from your past life or just earlier in this life. All right, understanding. What was I saying? So now we are starting to get to how to heal your shadow, and and all of the stuff that you're going to be going through this shadow season, all the traits that you'll be seeing come out in you, pile number 2. So what was I saying earlier? I was talking about understanding everything happens for a reason, and understanding that other people have lessons and you have lessons, and you're running from your lesson and not accepting your lesson. And so it's really, really important for you to understand the bigger picture here, and understand how whatever you went through as a child that you've been pushing in your shadow, and understanding how it has helped you grow and how it has helped you evolve, instead of thinking like it was bad and you have to prevent it from happening again, and you have to help other people prevent it from happening, etc., etc. Also understanding what other people are going through. Okay, so here we have the Hanged Man and Cruelty reverse, which is the 9 of Swords reverse. So this is really seeing the other side of what you may think is cruel. This is everything that we were talking about. This is insane. This is really developing a new perception, a new understanding, like the card right before it, of what you think is cruel, because of what happened to you and you trying to prevent it from happening to other people, etc., etc. So it's really developing a whole new understanding, a whole new perception, a whole new perspective on what you think is cruel and what you think, is basically not okay or okay, etc. So let's see, the next card we have here is Sister of the Seasons, Cycles of Growth, Natural Law, Divine Order. Beautiful. So this is really about, I really think you're going to grow this shadow season. I really think that, all sides of you are going to be able to come together, and you're really going to start seeing these different traits and behaviors in yourself. Your shadow is going to really come to the surface, and you're going to be able to grow and work through it. And it's going to be super, super helpful for you, pile number 2. So that is awesome. Let's go ahead and see. So more healing. Be the hunter, not the hunted. Woo! Pile number 2. This is about not being the victim anymore. completely doing away with any kind of victim mindset that you may have. This is about understanding things on a completely new level, on a spiritual level, opening up your mind. This is literally about understanding that you are not a victim anymore. That whatever happened to you, as horrific as it may have been, or as, traumatic as it may have been for you, that your emotions, that has no hold over you, that you are not a victim anymore, that you can heal that. The healing cannot happen outside of you. It can only happen inside of you. Your healing has nothing to do with anybody else. Only you can heal yourself. So think about that, and the opposite is true. Like when someone says something that hurts us, we're in control of our own feelings, our own thoughts, and how we perceive things, how we soak things up. And so it's really important for you, pile number 2, to not fall into this victim mindset of whatever happened to me, I was a victim and now I have to help other people, not be the victim, and we have to not be hunted together. No, you're not a victim, pile number 2, and you can overcome this. So the next card for healing we have is Aphrodite, which is the main goddess theme in Libra season. This is all about sensuality, spirituality, self-love as the highest form of love. Be a mirror in relationships. Receive and be open to love, romance, and friendship. So they have Gemini and the Lovers down here. This is amazing. So be a mirror in your relationships. Understand that you have to love yourself first, and that whatever relationships are in your life reflect your own shadow back to you, and who you are back to you, and what you believe about yourself back to you. If you don't love yourself, you will attract relationships that also don't show you love, that also, will treat you like shit, because that's what you're allowing into your life, because you already don't love or have respect for yourself. So once you have respect for yourself, once you have self-love, you won't be the victim anymore. You won't be allowing those kinds of relationships into your life. So we also have discernment. This is really being able to be a good judge of something, really being able to see something and judge something, and everything that we were just talking about with the last card with self-love and relationships and all of that. So we then have judication. So you could be involved in some kind of marriage or divorce or situation, legal situation, or really into the government or politics or whatever. And it's really about seeing both sides, seeing all sides to a situation. We then have the clouds and the mice. So it could be a little bit confusing for you. It could be a little bit hard for you to see yourself and this other person if you're dealing with another person, especially if it's an ex-lover or whatever. You may feel like they're a pest, or you may feel like they annoy you or whatever. So once again, it's really good to have self-love. That's where you need to start, and it's really good to be a good judge of one's character. Once again, we have judication. You know what I mean? You may not be seeing traits in your own self. You know what I mean? It may be hard for you to see traits in your own self and other people, but they're there, I promise. And it also may be very hard for you to judge people. And I really think that once you start healing all these things about yourself, you will understand, and your judgment of people will get better, pile number 2. So that is everything that I am seeing for you guys for your shadow season, what's coming for your shadow season, and how to work on healing it and integrating it. I hope this was helpful for you. If you'd like to book a personal shadow work reading, visit my website, TawnyMichelleTarology.com. Thank you guys very much. I love you. And now we are moving on to pile number 3. Hello, pile number 3. This is for those of you that picked this pile, which was pile number 3. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first half of the deck is going to be all about the shadow work that is going to be coming up for you over the next few months. And then the second half of the deck is going to be how to heal it, or the second half of the pile. Also, I'm just going to let you know ahead of time, these readings get really deep. And I promise it's not me dragging you or picking on you. It just may seem like that. It's kind of hard to hear certain things about ourselves and about our shadow. So some of us are a little bit more conscious of it than others. So just keep that in mind and try to listen with an open mind, okay? All right, so the first two cards that we have here about your shadow is Pisces, I believe, and a Yod, which is about destiny. So this is big, pile number 3. This is really about believing in yourself, believing in your purpose, believing what you're here to do, believing in the meaning of your life, really understanding and believing in your spirituality, your spiritual gifts, not letting other people step all over you, not letting other people put you down, or people pleasing for everyone, etc., etc. You have some kind of spiritual purpose, some kind of spiritual destiny, and you could be a little bit too uptight or a little bit too critical or judgmental or something along those lines. So it's really time to let go and surrender, especially if you're like over controlling, or if you just put yourself down a lot, if you don't believe in yourself a lot. That could be what is coming up here, okay? So the next two cards you have here is Child, Orphan. Light attributes: independent, based on learning to go it alone, conquering fear of surviving. Shadow attributes: feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeking inappropriate surrogate families. So pile number 1, it seems like maybe you were abandoned as a child, or your biggest fear is like feeling vulnerable, or someone abandoning you, or someone hurting you or neglecting you, or something along those lines. It seems like that is really what your shadow is pointing to here. Now, you may have not been an actual orphan, or you could have, but you may have not had a family that was very loving or nurturing, or maybe someone in your family you felt like betrayed you or abandoned you, or someone in your childhood you felt like neglected you, or something along those lines, okay? The next one we have is the Mediator. Light attributes: gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life, respect for both sides of an argument. Shadow attribute: negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. So once again, I feel like you kind of, like, you're scared to be taken advantage of, you're scared to be vulnerable, you're scared to, you kind of like may let people walk all over you because, you don't want them to abandon you, if that makes sense. So you may negotiate with people or try to manipulate people into staying around, or let them do whatever they want to you because you're scared that, they're going to leave, or they're going to hurt you, or you're not good enough, or you don't have what it takes to be on your own, or to tap into your own potential or your own power. So this is a really big one for you, pile number 3. It's really about believing in yourself so far, and not letting people walk all over you, and understanding your own gifts and what you're here to bring, and not letting, not people pleasing, not trying to keep the peace all the time because you're scared that someone's going to abandon you, or that you're going to feel vulnerable, or that they're not going to love you in some way. Okay, so your next two cards, they don't have words on them. I just read them intuitively. So this is very much about, once again, holding on, clinging, even if it's a negative situation, even if it's a toxic situation. But this is about finding your power. And you may feel like you need to hold on to something that isn't there anymore in order to survive, even if it's not really there anymore. So for instance, like, you could hold on to friendships or relationships with people that no longer serve you, that are basically dead, or just don't, give you what you need in order to try to survive, or to order to feel like you're okay, or you're enough, or whatever. So your next cards are the Hanged Man reversed and the Five of Skulls. So once again, this is attachment. This is hanging on for dear life, not able to let go of something, letting others take advantage of you, letting others use you, or have power over you, and you're not able to surrender. There's a lot of Piscean energy coming up here, mixed with some Libran energy, I feel. Or if you aren't a Pisces or a Libra, you could have it in your moon. Your Pluto could be in Pisces or Libra. Your 12th house could be in Pisces or Libra. There's all kinds of places to look in your chart for the shadow, okay? So, this is really about not wanting to let go, attachments, not wanting to detach because you feel like that's what you deserve, or you're so scared of being alone, or someone not loving you, or someone not being there for you, or abandoning you. So you'll hold on and let people basically take advantage of you, use you, etc. Okay, so the next card we have here is water. Emotions are at their peak. So once again, more water energy. This could be Cancer, Scorpio energy as well. This is just really feeling like you emotionally need someone, or you emotionally need people in your life to feel like you're like you believe in yourself, like you're okay. It's really needing a lot of emotional security in your life that you can give to yourself, but you're scared to. So your past life card is the Farm. Interesting. So either maybe when you were younger, you lived on a farm, or there was something about a farm, or animals, or Taurus. This could be Taurus energy as well. Also, basically, if you had a past life, maybe you lived far away, or maybe you, lived on a farm far away, and you were very connected to the animals, or something along those lines, to where in this life you're learning how to be far away but be okay with it, if that makes sense. Maybe you like in a past life you didn't live around a lot of people, or something along those lines, or you had a very close family or something like that, and now in this life, maybe your family wasn't very close, or maybe something happened as a child to where you felt left or abandoned, and now you're learning how to deal with that karma, So anyways, moving on. The next card we have here is the Fledging. Interesting. So the fledging is about remembering that you can't know things until you experience them. So you may have this fear like, oh my God, if I'm alone, I'll die. Or this one time when I was alone, like I literally hated it, or it was a horrible experience, or whatever. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be like that. It doesn't mean like if someone abandons you, or if someone breaks up with you, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't mean that it's going to be horrible. Like, yeah, you may stumble a little bit, but you don't have to expect yourself to be perfect, basically. So basically this card is about being very gentle with yourself as you step into your destiny to become the beautiful person you are meant to be. It's a sign of new growth and new wonderful opportunities, stepping forward with curiosity and a willingness to learn and discover. So once again, destiny, believing in yourself, and really understanding that you are here to do something special, pile number 3, and that you are here to evolve and grow beyond other people, like having power over you, or whatever the case may be. You may feel like nothing because of whatever happened in your childhood, but normally those that start off with nothing, we see it all the time, they end up having so much, and they end up finding their power. And that's what I really feel like this pile is saying for you, pile number 3. So the next 2 cards that you have here is the 5 of Wands and the 4 of Pentacles reverse. So this is really about letting go of your attachments, really fighting back, really standing up for yourself, really asserting yourself, starting off in like maybe fun competition, or whatever. It's really about finding your power. And because as they have labeled here, the 4 of Pentacles is about finding your power and not giving your power away and letting other people take your power over like, stupid arguments, or, stupid debates, or whatever. It's really about finding your power, standing up for yourself, and you can start doing this by like just participating in some fun competitions, like I was saying before. So the next card we have here is the Lady of Lightning. Surprises sometimes shock, total paradigm shift. That is amazing. So this is all about finding your power. Once again, there's like a lot of Uranus energy that I'm getting from this. Finding your own unique power, letting yourself be different, letting yourself be spontaneous, really stepping in to who you are. So pile number 3, I really feel like you guys could be having like some kind of surprise coming up this shadow season, something that is unexpected, that takes you by surprise, that really changes things and shifts things for you. that really brings out some kind of change in your life, that really helps bring your shadow to the surface in order for you to integrate it and heal it. So getting more to the healing, it says follow your own rhythm. Beautiful. So once again, this is really about embracing your uniqueness, embracing your body, embracing your image, embracing your confidence, embracing self-love, believing in yourself, like believing in your intuition. It really seems like you guys have really psychic or spiritual gifts, and it's really, really important to follow the beat of your own drum. That is how you will find your power, not by listening to others or letting others make your decisions for you, or trying to keep the peace, or trying not to say anything to upset anyone because you're scared that they're going to leave you, or whatever. It's really about following your own rhythm, marching to the beat of your own drum, pile number 1. That is how you are going to integrate your shadow and embrace it and heal. So then we have Vesta, inner solitude, warming the fires of your heart and tending to your inner flame and body temple. Once again, all about your body, believing in yourself, really finding your heart, your passion, and asserting yourself more. This is the Hermit and Virgo energy as well, and it's really just beautiful. Okay, so then we have intuition. So like I was saying before, trusting your intuition, trusting your psychic gifts, following your gut, pile number 3. That's what is really going to help you the most get through shadow season. So then we have the gift, and the last 2 cards, we have the Tower and the trees. So this is very much about, once again, your psychic gifts versus how you grew up, your family, structure, stability, etc. So you have the gift to find this love, to find this health, to find stability within yourself. Okay, and this is what you are going to receive once you start integrating your shadow. This is how it's going to end for you if you start integrating your shadow and healing. You will have the gift of stability, of money, of to grow, like to be stable. The Tower and the Lenormand deck does not mean the same thing as the Tower and the Rider-Waite. It's about stability. It's about structure. It's also about organizations, the government, the law, like institutions and stuff like that. So you will start receiving everything that you want and more if you truly embrace your shadow, if you truly embrace your psychic gifts, if you truly embrace yourself, your body, self-love, and start believing in yourself and following your destiny. So if you don't know what your destiny is, it's in your natal chart. If you need help looking for it, you can book a deep natal chart reading and we can go over it. But once you start stepping into your North Node and into your purpose, the universe will just kind of flow with you. Like it just completely opens up. And it can be hard to do because it's normally the opposite of what we're into or the opposite of what we think we need, but it actually is truly what we need. So that is all for you guys. Pile number 3, beautiful reading, probably my favorite one so far. And let's move on to pile number 4. Hello, pile number 4. This is for those of you that have picked this pile. It was the 4th pile at the end over there. We've already done the other 3 piles, so this is all that's left. So basically, just to let you know, there's a lot of cards here. This can be a deep reading. It may seem like I'm picking on you or dragging you. I promise I'm not. This is just a super intense and deep reading and really goes into your shadow, which is the things about yourself that you don't really like or that you don't like to admit or that you push down or that you may not even be conscious of. So try to keep an open mind. The first half of the pile is going to be all about your shadow and the traits of your shadow and the stuff that you may see coming to the surface over shadow season. The second half of the pile is going to be about healing, how to integrate your shadow, and what you'll receive once you do start integrating your shadow. So the first 2 cards we have here about your shadow is Capricorn, I use, and the fire element of desire. So this is all about desiring power, desiring to be able to be the one in control, or desiring to have some kind of say-so in something, or so people don't walk all over you, or just desiring to really be able to have some kind of structure or responsibility, or etc. Now, some of you could desire to have less responsibility. It could also go the other way as well. So let's go ahead and see what's next so we can get a better idea of what's going on here. So your next 2 cards here, we have visionary, light attributes, capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others. willingness to proclaim a vision without regard and for personal gain. Shadow attributes: selling insights to the highest bidder, compromising your vision, compromising, I don't know why I said it like that, compromising your vision to make it more acceptable. So once again, desire, you have this vision that, you want to help people or you want to do things, and not for personal gain really, but more like you want to achieve things. But you're willing to compromise your vision to make it more acceptable for others. The next one we have is damsel. So light attributes: understanding the nature of healthy romance inspires you to rely on yourself. Shadow attributes: waiting for a knight to provide for you, seduction by romantic illusion. So pile number 4, I feel like some of you can really, you guys have this visionary of and this desire for maybe a soulmate or someone rich or someone that's going to take care of you or someone that has achieved a lot. But you also can do that yourself. It really feels like this is kind of relationship so far, relationship stuff, or, wanting somebody like a knight in shining armor, or, really wanting to maybe achieve something yourself, but you're having trouble getting there because you're willing to compromise. It's like you want this perfect mate, but then you're also willing to compromise things where it's not so perfect, and you're also not willing to see the perfect mate in yourself, basically. So let's go ahead and look at your next 2 cards here. These don't have names on them. I just read them intuitively. So I feel like this is all about, once again, kind of waiting for something instead of seeing it in yourself. It's kind of wanting something or waiting for something that is not necessarily there. It may be wanting something that you feel like you can't do for yourself, basically. So let's see what the next 2 cards are. So we have the 10 of Scepters reversed and the 5 of Knives reversed. So this is really about, as you can see this card here, she's laying in a bed of flowers, right? It's almost like a fairy tale. So this is really about wanting someone else to help you with this burden of life, really wanting a partner or having this fairy tale romance or this illusion in your mind of what you wish things were like, or what, like your dreams, and it may be a little bit unrealistic. It may be too hard for other people to achieve for you. So it definitely could be something like that. Now, this could also be the opposite, where maybe you make it too hard for others to be that knight in shining armor for you. Maybe you're a perfectionist, or maybe you want somebody to, like, maybe you feel like you need to save the day and you don't let other people help you enough, or something along those lines. So the next card we have here is the Wyvern. Your secrets are safe. So pile number 4, all about your secrets, all about trying to keep your secrets. This could also be something to do with how you are in relationships, or secrets that you keep to yourself in relationships. Maybe you keep a lot of things to yourself. Maybe you're a little bit mysterious, something along those lines. Let's see what your next card is. Your past life card is Greco-Roman. So this could have something to do with, maybe a past life where you were there. So basically you could have had a past life in Greece or Rome that is maybe influencing the next few months, or influencing your shadow side right now. Maybe you were drawn to this kind of place, this kind of culture, or just spirituality in general. But yeah, it can have something to do with like the Mediterranean. Something about this area or culture or architecture could feel kind of familiar. Or you may be experiencing like deja vu a lot. But basically relationships that may be in your life right now, that may have like been in your life in that past life as well, and carried the knowledge forward somehow. But yeah, now that you're kind of like aware of this, maybe you could spend time researching these cultures and the spirituality with those places to see how to see what feels familiar to you and to understand more of this situation. The next card we have here is the High Priestess of Water. So once again, that kind of like dreamy energy, that emotional energy, really understanding your emotions and what you feel that you need that you may not necessarily actually need, if that makes sense. You may feel like you need something, but it could just be your emotions. It's also about trusting your intuition and your psychic gifts and your spiritual gifts as well. So let's see the next two cards here. We have Temperance reversed, which is art in this deck, the Knight of Swords, the Game Master. So once again, visionary, but also with the Knight of Swords here, this can be going too fast into situations, and with them, this deck has him as the Game Master, so you may kind of be like playing games with people, pile number 4, or playing games in your relationships or just with other people in general, because you may not necessarily be sure what you want. And some of what you want may be a little bit of an illusion for you. It may not be what you think it is, maybe your standards are too high, or maybe you're a bit of a perfectionist because you feel like you're scared of failure, or you're scared of people, what people think about you or your reputation. Because that first Capricorn card can really have to do with, reputation. And the other card, which is desire, it's like this desire, and it could also be like sexual as well. I am getting some sexual energy coming from this pile as well. So there could be some sexuality issues as well in your shadow, not being able to agree on something or fighting about something with Temperance reversed. And then the Knight of Swords, this is definitely a disagreement, disagreeing on things, just back and forth, almost like a love-hate kind of relationship. But it's almost like you're a game player, or you're just not sure what you want. You're back and forth. You can't decide. Like you desire one thing, but then once you get it, it's kind of like, I want something else, And so you have to find that desire in yourself. The resting tree, patience and stillness. So yeah, that also goes along with what I was just saying. Finding the patience to find the love within yourself and to get to know yourself, instead of feeling like you may need someone else, or like things need to be perfect, or whatever the case may be. Now getting on to the healing part, diving for light. So this talks about being brave, being really brave, and diving into your shadow side, diving into the things about yourself that you don't like, that you deem unlovable, that you deem not important, or that you deem embarrassing, whatever. It's really about being brave and looking at these things and starting to integrate them more, understanding that they're a part of you, and understanding that if you want to heal and if you want to stop attracting all these different cycles and patterns into your life, and if you want to become more spiritually aligned, enlightened, and embrace your spiritual gifts and find your spiritual and psychic gifts, it's really important for you to be brave when you do this and really dive into your shadow and let your shadow emerge into what you truly want it to be. And like I was saying, it's also about, I really feel like this is a lot about sexuality as well, and repressed sexuality. Okay, so the next healing card we have is Sekhmet, courage, light, and joy. Time to dance in the sun. The beauty and power of the sun is yours. Sekhmet shines on you to set new goals, celebrate your success. So yes, once again, bringing the darkness to light and learning to enjoy it, learning to dance with it, learning to bring it in the light of the sun and not be embarrassed about it, and use it to your advantage and integrate it. And courage, once again. Expression. Beautiful energy. So yes, I really do feel like pile number 4, when you guys start diving into your shadow, you are going to unleash a creativity in you that you probably never even knew you had. I mean, you are going to be so expressive and really able to express your true desires and your true sexuality and your true creative and psychic gifts that you have that you probably aren't even aware of. It's going to be insane. I really feel like you have this creativity in you and these psychic gifts in you that are being blocked by issues with sexuality, issues with being perfect, issues with reputation, issues with relationships, all of that. So your last 3 cards are toil and labor. the sun, and the woman. So once again, maybe you feel like maybe the Capricorn card, because this is once again, about work, all of that, labor. Maybe you feel like to be successful, you have to work hard, or you have to be like a woman, like a very put together, mature woman. Like, I don't know, maybe you were taught when you were younger that you really have to keep to yourself, that you can't wear certain things, and that's not, that's not ladylike or whatever. Work is really coming up here as well. This is the second or third time it's came up for you guys as well. So I really feel like that could be important for you guys as well for some reason. And it's almost like you like to stay in the background and not be a part of the spotlight, or you're scared to bring certain aspects of yourself into the spotlight. And I feel like once you really do the work on yourself, once you really unlock the shadow side, you'll be able to really be in the spotlight more. You'll be able to express who you really are more. This is really about self-expression, I feel, more than anything. And express who you really are and be proud of it. And other people will see you, and other people will notice you, and you will attract just so many good things into your life once you start embracing your shadow. So that is what I'm getting for you guys, pile number 4, and that concludes this reading. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I love you. I will see you guys in the Libra season readings. Bye.